On this week's episode of The Verdict,
Basketball legend retires.
Blue Jay legend leaves town?
But it's okay, because he's replaced with Jay Happ.
Court's in session. All right, Matty. Some not so fun news for Blue Jays fans yesterday.
Not really, no.
The one night stand is finally over. And Jays fans are just that needy guy or girl that just didn't realize it was a one night stand. How do you feel about it?
Well, we gave away a lot of prospects for that one night stand. Blue
Ooh,
Jays
that
gave
would be
away
nice.
a lot, and it's going to come down now to, was that worth it? And, well, for Boston first, a solid pickup for them. They've been bottom of the league now, bottom of the division for 2 years after winning the World Series. Does this make them now a favorite in the AL East?
They're definitely going to improve. I don't think they're going to be a last place team. Bolsters their lineup. Favorite? No, I don't think their hitting's that great.
No, but their weakness was pitching, starting rotation, and now they've added Price. And I gotta admit, I don't know how the Blue Jays let this happen, because I understand that David Price was a lot of money. Okay, he got
A lot of money.
$217
Couple
million.
pennies.
Few pennies. Okay, over 7 years, which a lot can happen in 7 years. We probably won't even be friends in 7 years. But
Not 7 days. This way this is going, Matty.
But how can they let their best pitcher go to their rival? Like, this is the worst case scenario for the Blue Jays. Because now you have Boston, who are set and primed for the next 6-7 years. They have a lot of young talent going up. And they're going to be a huge threat. Are the Jays going to go all in or not? This is my issue with this problem. Okay, I understand it's a lot of money, right? But as soon as they heard that he was going to go to the Red Sox, which I'm sure that David Price, if he wanted to stay, would have told them he was going to the Red Sox. As soon as they heard Red Sox, for me, you do the deal. Doesn't matter what it is. Because not only are you getting an ace, but you're also keeping an ace away from a competitor.
Let's look at another competitor in the division. Let's look at the Yankees. The Yankees, they made a huge signing a few years ago. They signed CC Sabathia. How's that turned out for him? Quite awful. These contracts do not work out. The Red Sox are going to be regretting this in a few years' time. I think this could be good for the Jays long term.
I don't think... Well, but bad for the Jays short term. This is the problem that I have.
I disagree a little bit. I don't think it's that bad for the Jays short term. I think Price he's fun. He was awesome. We had a ton of fun with him. But he gets way too much credit for that run last year. The offense was ridiculous.
It was.
Stroman came back in the late run to help the run. Why can't we just replace him with two second-tier pitchers? Because they won't. J.A. Happ, one of them, and they have more money to spend elsewhere.
They won't.
You get two pitchers for the price of one. That's a great deal.
But they won't do that.
$217 million is not a great deal.
But as soon as it goes to a rival, I believe it is. Because, like I said, you're not only getting a pitcher, you're keeping one away from a rival. This is the worst case scenario for me because the Yankees they're in kind of a rebuild mode. And I don't think they're as big of a threat as the Red Sox. Everybody before the start of the year last year thought the Red Sox were going to win the division. Then it turned out they weren't that ready. And they got kind of hot towards the end of the year. All I say is that with getting rid of David Price and giving him to a rival, you have halved the Blue Jays' chances of making the playoffs. And it's supposed to be an all-in situation. Okay? They're either going all in or not. And I don't see how letting your best pitcher go to a rival is going all in. And they're going to lose Bautista, Edwin. They're going to lose everybody next year. And I think that the people would have been fine to lose those guys if you keep Price.
Name one of these long 7-year contracts, hundreds of millions of dollar contracts, that has worked out.
I can't.
Anybody?
I can't.
Anybody? No. Nobody can because they don't work out.
There's nobody there.
Nobody. It doesn't work out. Let's move on to the rest of the Jays. Let's forget about Price. He's in the past. He's just somebody that we used to know, Matt.
Well, we have no choice. We got to forget about him. But okay. I'm going to let it go.
Okay, we have more
Who are they
there's
going to
more
get?
problems we need to address. If you were Mark Shapiro or their future GM,
I'd be wrong.
who would you be going after right now in the free agency market? One person, one individual, or two.
Well, it's not going to be Greinke. Obviously. It's not going to be Greinke. If you're not going to get David Price, who was going to stay, then you're not going to get Greinke, who you'd have to pay probably more to convince to come to the Jays. So Greinke is off the table. Get him up. Next, I don't think you're going to sign Samaja. I think he's a little bit too higher in my opinion. But I was looking at a couple of, you've got to go starting pitching. I mean, that's what I'm looking at. I think you got to go starting pitching. That's still the weakness. That's what you got to look at. So I was thinking, looking down the list, you got Scott Kazmir. He had a pretty good year last year. He got hit up a little bit in the playoffs. He's 31. I don't know if that's the way you want to go. I'm going to throw a name out there because I wanted Zimmerman.
What name?
I thought that Zimmerman would be a good fit.
I thought Zimmerman was the man.
He was not. He goes to the Tigers. And I think he was a little bit overpaid. But John Lackey.
John Lackey. The
John.
old man himself.
37 years old.
Give Dickie a friend on the team. Is that,
Yeah.
is that what you're thinking?
He's 37. That's yes. 2-year contract, 3-year contract. One of those two. You can get him for probably 15 mil a year or less. Okay, he's 2.77 ERA last year. That gives you enough of a boost. You're only going short term anyway. You lose, like I said, you lose Bautista and Edwin. That gives you a short term boost to bolster the starting rotation. Shall we say John Lackey to the Toronto Blue Jays?
I wouldn't hate it, but I think they need to set their priorities elsewhere. You said starting pitching was their greatest concern.
I believe so.
I strongly disagree.
Ooh,
You've got Stroman for a full season now, not just September.
we hope.
You've got Estrada coming back. You've got J.A. Happ, who was one of the best pitchers in baseball the whole second half of last season.
There's a duck.
You have Sanchez and Osuna, who could be moved to starting rotation. Where does that leave the bullpen? No Mark Lowe, no Sanchez, no Osuna possibly? You need to get bullpen help. And that's why I say go after the former Baltimore Oriole himself, the great sidearm pitcher, Darren O'Day. He had a 1.52 ERA last season. 1.52. That'll cure that whole problem.
You can't hit
And
it.
one
if you don't know what's
foul Baltimore Orioles swoop.
You can't hit him if you don't know where the ball's gonna. I love his release. I'll tell you, I love his delivery.
It'd be so much fun to watch.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I'm good with either. Both.
That's it. Both.
Both. To the Blue Jays.
That's it.
Keep on spending, which we know they're not gonna do.
Okay, from David Price saying goodbye to an all-time great saying goodbye.
I'm not going anywhere.
Crickets. Crickets. You are not. No. You are. No.
Okay.
Moving on. Kobe Bryant.
Oh, I see.
Kobe Bryant, yes.
I see.
He announced his retirement after this season. He's currently on a farewell tour, essentially. Like Mariano Rivera did in
doesn't
baseball,
want.
I believe. He doesn't want, but he deserves.
Time NBA All-Star, the third highest scorer in NBA history, the 2008 MVP, two-time NBA Finals MVP, five-time NBA champion, number 24, Kobe Bryant.
He's an all-time great, correct? I myself kind of find it sad the way he's playing here. It's kind of diminishing his legacy a little bit. He's shooting just above 30% from the field, just above 20% from the three-point line this year. He's just chucking, and that team is just losing, even losing to the Sixers.
Put me in.
So let's try to ignore this year. How about that?
Yeah. Completely off the table. I agree.
Where does Kobe rank on the list of all-time greats?
Well, I mean that's the question, right? I'm trying to figure out where he does. I think we both agree he's not going to be number one.
No.
We all know who's going to be number one.
Well, we all know people that could be number one.
Michael Jordan's number one.
He's up there. We're not that. We'll save that argument for a different day.
Michael Jordan's number one. Okay. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's up there. Bill Russell.
Revolutionized the big man position. Bill Russell.
11.
11.
I haven't even got enough fingers.
I'll lend you a finger.
11 championships. Magic Johnson.
We have the same top four.
Wow. See, we're on a roll. But we have Michael Jordan, number one.
One of us, dude.
We have LeBron James. He's going to be up there. Will Chamberlain. I got then Shaq. And I got Kobe 8. I got 8. He's got 5 championships. He's played for 20 years.
Wow.
I have him number 8. He's top 10, right?
He's top 10. I think he rounds out my top 5, personally.
Ooh.
I think he's better than Shaq. I think he has meant more to the sport
Oh.
as a whole. Michael Jordan revolutionized the sport. He made it cool again. And who's been following in his footsteps and carrying that torch? It's been Kobe. Kids don't yell Shaq when they shoot a three-pointer. They yell Kobe.
Shaq.
He's a cross-generational superstar, and he's won 5 rings.
How much does the cool factor have to play into it?
How much does scoring 81 points in a game factor into it?
How much butter is in 1 gram of... We don't know these answers, okay?
No, we don't.
No. So, we both agree he's top 10. I'm not going to say he's top 5. I can't go that bold. If you want to use your bold pick of the day this early
This is
on...
not even that bold. I was saying they're moving up more.
You know what? I'm getting pretty mad. I'm going to call the duck.
How can you put LeBron above him already? He's halfway through a career. But you know what? We'll save that for another day.
Call the duck.
Call the doctor.
Call the duck right now.
Doctor.
Duck! Help us out. Who you like?
Well, here's the thing about Kobe Bryant. You know, a lot of people will compare him to Michael Jordan, so he'll always be in Michael Jordan's shadow in a way. But that doesn't, you can't regard that when looking at him from an all-time perspective. He's third all-time in points, ahead of Michael Jordan. That's one ahead. The man has 5 rings, which is, again, 1 behind Michael Jordan. So what some people don't know is that Kobe is actually 14th all-time in the steals category. He was an all-defensive player for most of his career, especially in his prime. So for me, I would put him in my top 5, probably 5th overall. What I have to say about Kobe right now, though, it's pretty tough to watch. Kobe leaving this season is kind of providing the Lakers and the Lakers fans with a bit of a gift, in a sense. They're going to get a good round draft pick, and it's going to allow for guys like D'Angelo Russell and the young guys on the squad to get more shots up. But for me, Kobe's definitely in the top 5 of all time.
What did I tell you?
Doc needs some medicine because Doc is wrong.
Need some medicine.
But that's fine. Kobe Bryant, top 5 all time. I will give you that.
And those are the doctor's orders. All right, let's move off the hardcore. Let's move on to something a little more chilly.
Skiing.
The old skiing. I brought my ski sweater today, Matt.
I like it.
Thank you. It's toasty.
I was lying.
It's toasty. You know what else is not toasty, though? The Leafs goaltending. Well, actually, sorry.
Some of it is.
Some of it is.
Some of it's not.
Some of it's not.
Who's going? Is it day to day? It's kind of day to day. You don't really know.
No, you really don't. But we do know that Bernier has been sent down to the AHL
For 10 days.
a conditioning stint. Also known as, you've been the worst goalie in the NHL this year, so you're being sent down to the AHL. What do you make of the goaltending situation?
We are not. Leafs are not gonna miss Bernier. I
No.
think 10 days might turn into 20 days. Put him in solitary confinement. You won't lock the door. He's no confidence. Bernier has no confidence. Reimer has a lot of confidence. He flails. He does his usual flailing stance, but he's stopping the puck. So Reimer's still on probably number 1. What do we make of the new kid? Garrett Sparks breaks record. One good game, he broke the record.
Every dog has his day, dog.
No Leaf before has ever done that. So no, not every dog has his day.
You know what? Sure, Bernier has 888 save percentage this year. Pretty miserable, right? Mm-hmm. Look at the team in front of him. How can people like you be critiquing Bernier when the team outright admitted they were tanking this year? They have one of the worst defenses in the whole league. No, he gets no help. I want Bernier to be traded for his sake, not for the Leafs' sake.
Nobody will take him.
He's not that bad.
He's being outplayed by James Reimer.
When a team is trying to tank, isn't it counterintuitive to be blaming the goaltender for being poor? Don't you want the goaltender to be poor?
Are the Leafs still tanking though? Yeah. Some of it is, some of it's not. I don't think Mike Babcock's trying to tank.
You ain't gonna get Austin Matthews when your goaltender is playing great.
You ain't going to get him anyway. He's going to go to the Edmonton Oilers for the first overall pick. We all know that. That's how it works. That's how it will work.
Conspiracy
theory of the day.
That's it.
Who's the best goalie? Reimer's the best goalie for the Leafs right now.
Who cares? I don't even...
Yeah,
this is
cares?
not
Who cares?
crummy team.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. I love being passionate about things that just don't matter.
How dirty is mud, Matt? It's dirty.
It's pretty good.
Elsewhere in hockey, Canadian hockey, from one poor team to another, also poor team.
Well,
but not.
That is not a bold statement.
No, it isn't.
No.
You mentioned them, the Edmonton Oilers. I feel like since 2006, since they made that Cup final, lost in Game 7, have they been the worst team in the league every year?
That franchise is dry.
It's just dry.
Dry.
Dry of wins.
Yeah.
Dry of goals.
Everything.
Dry of.
They got a lot of first round picks.
4 number 1 overalls.
Which is crazy. and they still have they shown any improvement?
Oh no, no,
No,
no, they have not.
no. They're fourth currently in goals allowed in the league.
Yeah.
They traded for Talbot, try and fix the goalie situation.
Blockbuster.
And that didn't work. And now they have the youngster Nielsen. He's playing there ahead of him, so they don't really know what's going on in the goaltending. But I think the biggest problem is defense.
Oh yeah.
You were saying about the Leafs defense being bad. The Oilers defense is
Maybe
pretty
they
bad.
should have drafted a defenseman.
You think so? And not keep taking the first overall?
If you were new GM Peter Chiarelli over there, what would you do?
Run.
Okay, run.
I'm a coward though, so that's
You don't
okay.
make it so far up in
Yeah.
the cold of Edmonton. You
Oh, I
turn
don't
around
like
and
cold.
go home.
Yeah.
Would you consider trading one of their young stars
It's funny because
for some defensive help?
I think conspiracy theory number 2 of the day. You've been looking at my notes.
No, that's just a question. Here's my somewhat bold statement of the day.
Yeah.
Jordan Eberle is the most overrated player they have. He's a heart and soul guy, but he's got 3 points on the season. He's worst on the team with a -11 this year. Trade him for a D man. I don't care who. Trade him for Dion Phaneuf. Anyone. Not that bad.
I gotta tell you, I think that's a bold pick of the day because you're forgetting about Yak.
Yak the yacker.
Yeah,
Yickety yak yak yak.
the only reason why he's still on that team is because nobody else wants him.
So we both agree to trade someone. We disagree who.
I say put Eberle and Yak in a duo deal to get somebody, because I don't think they're that good.
I think we can also agree on one thing. I think the jury is spoken. Get a goddamn defenseman. Jesus. It is miserable
Defense.
there.
Get a defenseman.
Please.
I'm a fall. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't even want to talk about hockey anymore.
Enough hockey.
Let's
for
move
one
on.
year.
Football.
Football. Not the
Gridiron.
European one, the gridiron one.
Yes.
Biggest story of the week, Matt.
Brock Osweiler just knocked off the undefeated New England Patriots.
Previously undefeated.
Yes, he did. He just knocked them off. Is he going to start the rest of the season now? Manning's injured. Manning comes back. Peyton Manning are we really saying Peyton Manning is not going to get the starting quarterback job back in the Denver Broncos?
This is so easy, Matt. So easy.
I hope we agree.
I'm going to put the devil horns up. Brock Nation is running wild. Brock, he's undefeated as a starter. And Peyton Manning is terrible this year.
He's played 2 games.
He beat the best team in the league.
He's played 2 games.
Okay, you
in
have to
overtime.
look at who he's replacing. Who is
Peyton's
maybe
done.
the 32nd best quarterback in the league this year.
That's maybe even generous.
That
But
might be generous. He had 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions in 9 games this year. His previous worst was only 23 interceptions in a full 16-game season. Like, he is
I have one problem with what you're
worse than
saying.
his rookie season. Tell me.
Are you trying to win or not? You're not going to win a Super Bowl with Brock Osweiler as a quarterback. That's not going to happen, right? And you're very, 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 very unlikely to win the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning as a quarterback. But doesn't Manning have that potential to just have that one game where he kind of is a little bit of himself, and he could win this team a Super Bowl with a lot of help from the defense. Brock Osweiler is not going to be a Super Bowl MVP champion.
It's like saying Donovan Bailey has a chance to still win the 100-meter race against Usain Bolt.
It's very
Peyton
similar.
has fallen off a Rocky Mountain cliff. Denver joke. Peyton's awful. Hear me out on this one.
I think you got a new friend of the show in Brock Osweiler.
I am a big fan of Brock. Not quite a friend of the show. But hear me out on this one. Does this not... They beat the Patriots. Does this not remind you of the Patriots of 2001? Where this upstart quarterback from nowhere named Tom Brady, I believe?
What's his name?
He came in for Drew Bledsoe. No one thought much of him. He took over, led that team to multiple Super Bowls. Is that not possible with Brock?
It's possible with everybody if you're going to use that.
Oh, shut
Brock, you
you
can't
kidding
say that Brock Osweiler is going to be the next
He
Tom
just
Brady.
beat the undefeated Tom Brady.
In overtime, and the team is extremely banged up. I think
Same with Denver Broncos. They're missing their starting quarterback.
this is the problem. We firmly disagree on this. I would put Manning back in, and if Manning has a bad couple games, then put Brock back in. You can't choose Brock over Manning, and then because Brock's gonna have a bad game, and then you're gonna have to put Manning in, and it's like, where do you go?
I'm not going to be so bold to say that Brock and the Broncos are going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm not going to say
My
that.
Super Bowl pick for the year.
I'm not going to say that, man. I think there's a chance. We're going to disagree.
Bring it up!
We're going to disagree on that one.
We are disagreeing. This hammer's staying put. Don't
Hung
even
jury.
move away from it.
Hung jury.
All right, let's hope we had it first last week. We had agreeing on the picks of the week, and it's time for that again. It's time for you to agree and come ride with me on this winning wave. It's time for the picks of the week.
And what are you picking, Matty? What am I going to agree with here? Not going to agree.
There's a team last week. After my serious apologies, I might have said a few things about the Seattle Seahawks last week, which didn't go down too well. I'm back on the bandwagon. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks against the Minnesota Vikings. It is a 1-point spread, and I think they finally got a playoff spot back, a wild card spot. Now is where Seattle typically steps up, and Minnesota's won a lot of games, more games than they should. So I'm taking Seattle and the 1 point.
You know what, Matt?
Join me.
You're completely ignoring our friend of the show, Teddy Bridgewater, and the Minnesota Vikings. This is actually, you have the exact opposite pick of me.
Oh.
I took the Vikings to win. They're giving them a point. Minnesota is the better team, and they're at home. What are the odds makers doing? Did you know the Vikings are 6-0 this year when Teddy Bridgewater throws for less than 200 yards? 6-0 win less than 200 yards. They're a well-rounded team. They have a legendary running back, which the Seahawks don't. They're missing Marshawn Lynch. The Vikings are a better team, and they get a point. Woo! It's payday, baby.
There you go. Vote at home. Choose whoever you want. But one of us is gonna lose unless it's a tie, which I really hope it's not. And that's all for the verdict this week. So for the man beside me here, who's so big that he disagrees with everything I say, it's Big Andy.
I'm gonna put a hex on you.